the presidency officials and the Irish government, but no specifics have been given to the public at this stage, but they will have to be. The sooner the better probably, and the hints you may have will absolutely help the process of having that debate on what kind of opt-outs, if any, what is the nature of relation between the opt-out given and the Croat accession treaty, which is not necessarily legally clear, etc. There's a number of questions there. And then there will be a big political development. There will be the second Irish referendum to cover, probably in October, maybe earlier in September. And on the outcome of that referendum, we will have the decision whether the treaty is or not in place.
Is anybody in Europe trying to persuade the Irish through any means that they have?
What do you mean by persuade?
Well, obviously the people are going to decide, so is anybody taking responsibility for trying to sway their decision?
Well, the campaign is probably already in place in the sense that it is labeled right now as European Parliament campaign, and Mr. Gunley, head of Libertas, is traveling extensively all around Europe. I haven't seen any major European politician going to Ireland to try to persuade them. But to persuade them in favor. Yeah, Václav Klaus came, but which only confirms that that the no camp, as in the first referendum case, is ahead of the yes camp in campaigning on the ground.
Do the Irish have any practical objections to the Lisbon Treaty, or do they just not want it?
The Libertas, I mean, you know.
No, I mean the voters in general.
Oh,
are they voting against it on practical grounds, or
right,
because they feel that it's not really a very nice thing
well,
to ask of them?
in my judgment, the main idea was we like Europe, therefore we vote no. But that was back in June. It doesn't necessarily have to correspond with your logic. I mean, but it doesn't mean it's illogical. The logic is we like Europe because Europe, as we know it, has given us the prosperity, the growth, and why change it? If it's working, why change it? We don't see the need to change it. That seemed to be the overreaching one phrase, if it's ever possible to put it in one, because in any referendum you just need to have a reason to vote no. You may don't like the abortion, which will be legal under Lisbon Treaty, or you may not like the idea of European army that your kids will be forced to join under Lisbon Treaty, or the Brussels-based taxation. Pick one, and you have one reason to vote no. To vote yes, you need to have all three solved out, so to speak, or addressed.
Okay, so the logical follow-up to that question is, okay, so what do the yes voters think is so wrong with Europe as it is that it needs fixed?
Well, I mean, all I can refer to is the June 2008 referendum, in which about 45% of the people said they didn't know what the treaty was all about, which they were asked, then why did you vote yes? And they said because they followed the main yes camp motto, which was, you trust the politicians, vote yes. Now, how many people trust politicians? That's my question. Now, okay. If that's okay, let me continue. Now, if the treaty is ratified and it is subject to entry into force, there's still some work to be done, because the size of the Commission is not clear. The Commission should be in place by November 1st, 2009. If the Irish have the referendum in September or October, even if it's positive, it's very unlikely that they will deposit their documents by the end of October. 2009, which means that the treaty will not be possible to enter into force for the new Commission, which means that this Commission's mandate will be probably extended, which, from my perspective, is a bit dangerous thing to do, or at least problematic from democratic perspective. How do you extend the mandate? I mean, do you know any country in Europe that have extended the mandate of a government or postponed the elections because of other reason than war? I mean, that happened during Second World War, but ever since. Do you know?
But this is not a government, it's just people working for a
Sure.
government.
Of course it's not a government, it's the Commission. But if we talk about European democracy and being credible, if the European People's Party or Party of European Socialists, the Greens and the Liberals and everybody else say in June, go and vote for us because if we win we will have a socialist president of the Commission, and then this Commission stays for another 6 months or so longer,
That's a parliament problem.
that's a parliament problem. We all know it here. Say it to the 500 million voters.
In France, we did it, but for mayors, not for government.
For mayors. Okay, good. What was the reason?
Because all the election was supposed to take place in 2007, at the same time the presidential election and the legislative election, so it was too much work.
Fair enough.
It was 24 years.
Postponed it for a year.
Yeah.
So the mandate was extended for a year.
Yeah, for the mayors.
Okay. Point taken. Someone else wanted to raise something?
You said you would welcome any criticism, so
Yeah.
I have a general criticism of the topic because we're talking about European elections now, and you as a political scientist know that usually the campaigns for European elections are dominated by national issues. And we're basically talking European issues now, and then you know, you wouldn't be surprised, I guess, if you see the campaign in Bulgaria, that's where I'm coming from, dominated by the possible reopening of the nuclear plant. Same in Slovakia and Lithuania, probably. So that's what I wanted to say. I mean, if we focus too much on the European issues, then in the end, we might be surprised of, let's say, some radicals getting elected and getting the majority. So I just wanted to put some, you know, light on that issue. I guess you put that somewhere in the end, but I mean, if you follow at least the Eastern European countries' campaigns in 2004, it was a lot about national issues and nothing about the Nice Treaty or the Lisbon Treaty that was going to come, or the Constitution. That was it.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. In this slide, I said that there is one campaign or 27 national campaigns, and I said that it's most likely to be 27 national campaigns. The popularity of your prime minister or president, or the economic situation in your country, or nuclear power plant opening or closing, in Germany, for example, might be an issue. Unemployment or whatever else that is national related is by far much more important to the public voting than the general European issues, though the parties do tend to lay out those proposals that say we are united and we have a European agenda on the topic. But I'm being shown a watch, so let me just go through the few slides I have. Now, the Lisbon Treaty implementation means that there's a few things to be covered ahead of the introduction of the Lisbon Treaty into life. Size of the Commission. Under the current treaties, the Commission size has to be reduced as of 2009, November 1st. Lisbon Treaty makes it possible to have the general rule of one Commissioner per member country kept. Who is and what are the powers of the permanent president of the European Council? Question mark. What are the powers of the double-hatted High Representative? Question mark. It's not decided in the treaty fully. It needs to be furtherly discussed. Implementation of the European... I have to...